Welcome to episode 2, NHBA podcast. I'm your host, Mitch Gould. This podcast brought to you by our sponsor, Purina Pro Plan. Find out what nutrition can do for your hounds today. On today's episode, we're going to take a look at our East and West Eliminator winners. We're also going to interview the East Eliminator overall winner, Chance and Zack Staton from Virginia. We're going to also talk to one of our sponsors, Paul Gingerich at Ging 4. And it's that time of year again, NHBA Days. We're going to preview the 2023 NHBA Days event with Secretary Josh Ware. So stay tuned. It's going to be a good one. Come on in. Episode 2, NHBA podcast. Man, we got some good stuff for y'all today. Going to take a look at those Eliminator winners here in just a second. Spring is in the air. Rabbits are running big. And we all know that means NHBA days coming up a couple weeks. We're going to have Josh Ware, Secretary of the NHBA, on just a little bit to preview that event for you. Go over all the details you need to know about NHBA days. We're also going to have Paul Gingerich, Ging 4, and the Staton brothers, Zack and Chance Staton from Virginia, talking about their big win at the East Eliminator with Tar Heel in a rush. I want to say appreciate everybody that came on and interviewed, and for this episode, I had a great time with all parties involved, and I enjoyed it. So without further ado, let's go ahead and look at your 2023 West and East Eliminator. We'll start with the West out there at Douglas County Bigglers, Ava, Missouri. They had a great event out there, guys. We're just going to get into, I'll tell you what we'll do. We're going to start, just to get everybody up to speed. On the Friday of each Eliminator, that's your junior hunt. So those are for hounds under 2 years old. You might call it a puppy derby in other formats. So we'll take a look at that. We'll then move on to our show winner. And then, of course, our top 10 and acknowledge that winner of this year's West Eliminator. So let's take a look at the junior final cast at your West Eliminator. Fourth place was Big Mac, owned by Douglas Qualls. Cowboy was third, owned by Eric Owens. I've got No One's Patsy. Josh Byers was your runner-up. And your winner of the 2023 West Eliminator Junior Hunt, Roderick Mosley with his dog Noisy Boy. Congratulations, Roderick. Heard he looked good. Great win for you, buddy. Congratulations. Moving on to your West Eliminator show winner. We've got Mike Higbee with Hunting Beagle Champion, Grand Champion, No Cures Angel Maker. She is your 2023 Eliminator West overall show winner. Congratulations to Mike Higbee on the show win. All right. Moving on to your top 10 Eliminator West. We're going to start with our 10th place hound. I think there was around 70 entries, I heard, somewhere in that neighborhood. I don't have the exact number. Your 10th place, PR Sunrise Ridge Wind Cheater, Garrett Cunningham Brian Mudgett. It's your 10th place dog. 9th place, Clifty Creek's Alligator, owned by Johnny Burkdahl. Your 8th place, CW3R Max Beast, owned by Scott McDougall. 7th place, Kate owned by Eric Owens. 6th place, Red Clay's Track Digger, owned by Brandon Nelson. Your 5th place, Red Clay's Stone Cold Yeti, owned by Jason Snelson. 4th place, Glade Top Go Get 'em Slammer, owned by Stan Collins. Your 3rd place hound is Clifty Creek's Katie, owned by Gary Moore. 2nd place was Clifty Creek's Hattie, owned by Mike Roy. And your 2023 first place winner of your West Eliminator was Jason Rhodes with Rhodes Crazy Train. Rhodes Crazy Train, guys. Congratulations to Jason Rhodes on behalf of the NHBA. Congrats. Excellent win. Happy for you. Congratulations to all the members that made top 10 and also our show winner and our junior final 4. Congrats to everybody at the West Eliminator. I was able to talk to Brian a little bit that weekend. We were both very busy and just talking back and forth, and sound like they just had a Brian budget. Sound like they had a great event. So congratulations to everybody out there in Ava, Missouri. Your 2023 West Eliminator in the books. All right, folks. So that's our West Eliminator. Going to move on to your East Eliminator. This hunt was located in West Milford, West Virginia, hosted by South Harrison Bagel Club. We will do the same thing. We'll start out with your junior on Friday. We'll mention that final cast here. And just to back up a minute, we talked on episode 1, guys, about recognition. And a big part of this podcast, we feel, is as the NHBA podcast, part of our breed association's whole mission is to recognize hounds in the sport and the UKC Hound and Hunter format that are doing well and winning. And so that's what we're doing here. And let's take a look at your junior final cast on Friday at West Milford. Your junior East Eliminator final cast. I've got the top 4 here in no particular order until we get to number 1. I've got Heat 'em Up Black Widow, Jason Vandergrift. Arnold Super Runnin' Rip, Phil Arnold. JJ Lucky Lou, Izzy Note. And in your first place, junior winner was Shady Oaks El Chapo, owned by Phil Spurlock. Congratulations to the 4 of you, and also as behalf of the NHBA, congratulations, Phil Spurlock, on your pup winning. He is the Junior Eliminator East winner. Congratulations. Our show winner on Saturday, and I just want to mention, we had, I want to say 30, right at 30, a little more, a little less entries into the show. It was an awesome show. We had a pile of kids there, which I'll talk about in just a minute. And it was just great to see those kids out there participating. Big thanks to John Hill, who did a lot of the breed inspector work over the weekend, registered a lot of dogs, and he also was our bench show judge. So on behalf of the club and NHBA, we want to thank John. So your 2023 East Eliminator overall show winner was Burke's Little Miss Molly, owned by Angie Vandergrift, handled by Aubrey Gould. Congratulations, guys. Beautiful dog. She is your overall Eliminator East show winner. All right, moving on to your top 10 East Eliminator 2023. Your 10th place was D'Agostini's Wintertime Lacey, Owen D'Agostine. Your 9th place was PR 6-Pack Bill, owned by Ron Wyatt. 8th place was Yoder's Bros, Hot and Spicy, Willis Yoder. 7th place was Tar Heels rocking spot, Zack Staton. Keep an eye on that Tar Heel name. We're going to hear that again in a minute. Your 6th place was Willis Creek Black Magic, Brad Cameron. 5th place was AMP Burton Gustard, Nathan Adams. 4th place was Randy's Cottontail Crazy Dixie, Randy Workman. And this is your final 3. This was your final cast. We had a 3-dog final. 3rd place was Cottonmouth Blackberry Hooch, owned by Shane Seaman. 2nd was 6-Pack Woody, owned by John Hill. And your 1st place, 2023 East Eliminator winner, Blue Mountain in a Rush, which is now Tar Heel in a Rush, Chance Staton. Congratulations, Chance, on your win of the 2023 East Eliminator. And here in a little bit, as I said, we'll be talking to those fine young men about their win and at Tar Heel Kennels. So we'll be looking at that just a little bit. I saved this for the end. My favorite part of any event is your youth winners. So I wanted to save that for the end, save the best for last. We'll start out west. Your Eliminator West overall youth winner was Braxton Owens. Congratulations, Braxton. Couldn't be happier for you, buddy. On behalf of the NHBA, congratulations to Braxton. He's your West Eliminator youth winner. Moving back to the East, your overall youth winner, and I want to say this young lady, she been kicking butt for a while now. Not only did she win some classes on the bench, she won casts in the field in the junior eliminator and the regular eliminator in there competing with the big boys. So without further ado, your 2023 East Eliminator youth winner. And she got that, and so did Little Owens. He got, and Izzy also got this nice NHBA trophy. Your youth winner is Izzy Note from Indiana. Way to go, girl. Excellent job. Couldn't be happier for you kids. We had a fierce battle there in the East Eliminator for that youth prize package. And it was really awesome to see those kids. We got some good pictures on the UKC Big Old Field website if you haven't gotten the chance to view those of all those kids together. I want to say we had 13 youth compete. I want to give a big shout out to our sponsors again for that event. These youth, they went at it. They really did. We had Emmett Whipke as our runner-up youth. Congratulations to Emmett. We had Brock Butler in there as in our top 4. And our 4th place youth finalist, the top 4 youth package was Brogan Sampson. Congratulations to that top 4. Each youth received a hunting or fishing trip. Also, I want to mention those other youth that we had that participated. Hopefully I get them all in here, guys. We had one of our favorites, a little Bug Spray Moore. That's what we call him out here, Raiden. Congratulations. MJ Frazier, Harley Swagger Jr., Eli Watson, Achilles Morrison, Aubrey Gould, Carson Merritt, and Connor Mead. So congratulations to all the youth that came out and just put on a heck of a show and hunt. Last thing I want to mention here, we had a special sponsor at the East Eliminator. Donnie Reynolds, DR Reynolds Gun Shop in Clarksburg, West Virginia. DR Reynolds Gun Shop and Gun Range Outdoor Park. If you're in the area, stop and see this man and his company did so much for the East Eliminator, our top 10 prize package, our youth package, and he did something really special for the NHBA. And Josh and I are going to get into that here in just a little bit when we get into that segment. I'll save that for later. But on behalf of the NHBA and South Harrison Bagel Club. We want to extend a big thank you to Donnie Reynolds and DR Reynolds Gun Shop. All right. Coming up next, guys, we're going to have the Staton brothers finishing up talking about the East Eliminator. We're just going to roll right into interviewing the winner of the East Eliminator. 171 dogs. Tar Heel in a rush, coming out on top. Chance Staton, the handler owner, his brother Zack was with him. Some real good dudes. Really enjoyed being around them this weekend. True sportsmen. And we're going to talk about their big victory next here on the podcast. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome on Chance and Zack Staton from Tar Heel Kennels, winner of your 2023 East Eliminator with Tar Heel in a Rush. Welcome to the podcast, guys.
Thank you, sir.
Yep, thank you, Mitch.
Now, I want our viewers to have a fair warning here that these two brothers are about the most difficult people I can tell apart on the phone. As a matter of fact, before we even started this, they fooled me. I thought I was talking to Chance the whole time, and I said, "Hey, Zack, say something." He goes, "You've been talking to me the whole time." So you guys are in for a treat telling them apart because it's tough. So, all right, guys. So how's it feel? You've had a little time to reflect. You won a Big Five. You won the East Eliminator, the biggest eliminator in history since we started having an East and a West. How's it feel?
Well, it's been a couple weeks now, and it's just now. It probably took a week before it really sunk in, and you guys posting all the stuff, and that's when it really set in for me. I don't know. It's still kind of hard to believe. We weren't expecting to be in, even in the finals in a big hunt since we haven't been trialing too awful long. It was definitely a very nice surprise.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we come down there to get a couple cast wins. Hopefully, we were just hoping for that, and ended up, winning the whole thing. So, I mean, it was a big surprise for us for sure.
Yeah, you guys ended up having just an awesome weekend. So I'm looking at our results here. Not only did you win it, but I see where Zack, you were in the top 10 as well, right?
Yes, sir.
So what was you go ahead and tell us the male dog's name you were running to.
I was running a dog. We call him Tar Heel's Rockin' Spot.
Mm-hmm.
He's, hadn't had him too long. We actually purchased him from a boy in Kentucky that was a Little Pack guy. He's a Little Pack champion. He's got 2 wins towards Grand in Little Pack.
Okay.
And he posted the pedigree on him, and we jumped at it. We have a little female that we were really wanting to get some pups out of, and I got to running him, and he's 7 years old going on 8, and didn't really plan on trialing him a lot. Didn't think he probably had a whole lot of go left to him, but he proved me wrong, and as long as he continues to show that he wants to compete, I'm going to keep running him.
Heck yeah. Heck yeah. So you guys, go ahead, buddy.
He did good. He got a little, he started showing his age late rounds.
Mm-hmm.
But that's to be expected.
Oh, so. Sure. So you guys are from Harrisonburg, Virginia, correct?
We're about 30 minutes south of Harrisonburg and Staton, but Harrisonburg is the biggest city around us.
Okay. So you make the trip up to East Eliminator, trying to get a couple cast wins, and next thing you know, you got 2 in the top 10, and you win this hunt with Rush. So
yes,
let's talk about Rush, guys. So tell me about these casts. And since Chance was a handler, I'll refer back to Chance here. So tell me about your hunt. So just let our listeners know, to win this hunt, a hunt of this size, Rush had to win 4 consecutive rounds, 90-minute rounds on Saturday to win this event. So tell me about your cast a little bit, Chance, and what that was like.
Well, the first round, I actually handled 2 other dogs. We had a buddy of ours from Buena Vista, Jonathan Rice. He's been handling her a little bit for me.
That's right. That's right. I forgot about that.
He's actually both cast wins that have counted, he's actually been the one that's handled her for me. He got out of Beagles for a little bit and sold everything and trying to get back into it, and asked if he could handle Rush for us. And obviously I wasn't going to tell him no on that end of it. But he, the cast that he ran her, I think they only jumped one rabbit. She got a first strike. Don't believe they got any lines. The running was a little tough for them that cast. Not making any mistakes, just being consistent throughout the entire weekend is really what got her in position. The second cast that I ran her, it was the same thing. We jumped one rabbit. She ended up with a second strike on it. The first strike dog ended up eating some points, and she did her job and keeping her mouth shut and held on to that one. The third cast, we went to two awesome looking spots. I mean, never would have guessed that we would have not jumped anything, but it was the middle of the day. It was tough. The dogs hunted hard, but we actually ended up hitting a different spot with like 15, 20 minutes left in the hunt trying to find a rabbit. We didn't find one. So that ended up being a coin flip. So we had a little luck on our side with that one.
Sure.
And then the final cast, the consistency is what won it for her. She jumped the first rabbit. We got a line on that one. She got a second line. The second rabbit, she was second strike. We didn't get any lines. The third rabbit, she was second strike, didn't get any lines. So just being right there when she needed to be, and having a little
like
Yes, sir. And that's her biggest plus side to her is what you're getting every time you run her. She's, in my opinion, nothing flashy, but she's also not going to make many mistakes.
Now I see she's 3.5 before here this spring.
Yes, sir.
So she's a veteran dog and did what she needed to do to win. And I think consistency sometimes is the most overlooked trait in Beagles. Sometimes it's not all about the flash and power. And that dog that's consistent can put the rabbit between their legs and not make mistakes. And sometimes that's the dog that comes out at the end. Yes, sir.
And that's the only thing that saved her is just doing her job.
Mm-hmm. And that was a tough. That was the probably the most odd big hunt I can remember in some time, where one cast would come back and be like, "Man, scent conditions were awesome and we pounded," and then their cast would come back and be like, "Man, they struggled." It was just such a very, very up and down. I don't know if we've got doe rabbits already, but it was a strange compared to last year's Eliminator. The scores and the running is just night and day, and it was a very, very strange weekend for running.
Yes, sir. Before I guess it was Saturday evening. Well, actually, all day Saturday, both casts I ran with two different females. I mean, our running was. I mean, you couldn't ask for a whole lot better. And then Sunday was a little bit different story.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It wasn't for lack of good-looking rabbit. That's for sure. I mean, the spots that I went to, just the rabbits were there. It was just where were they at while we were there.
Sure.
Shoot, I had great running all weekend with Spot. I had one cast that was a little bit tough, but shoot, my semifinal cast, I think the dog that won it was like 800 plus. So
yeah, you were in that cast. Yeah,
I had some really good running the whole time, and Chance kept coming back, and he's like, "Man, she's doing it," but he said it's not very pretty. She's just doing her thing, and
well, I'll tell you this, guys, and you guys will probably agree with me after how that hunt went. You'll take an ugly win over a pretty loss any day. So
that's right, 100%.
Yes, sir. So you mentioned, Rush's. I wanted to ask you. You've kind of got into that a little bit on her. What's her strengths and weaknesses, and then I wanted to just get into. I see she's out of Squeaking Through James and Wade's Hoss and Pfeffer. So let's just dig into that a little bit, about her background a little bit and where she come from.
Well, Shane Seaman actually owned her as a young dog, and when we first got back into the trialing, I had ran with him a couple times when he had just got her started, and she was running good. And I told him right then that day, I was like, "You ever decide to sell her, I want to be first in line." Well, he told me that I was second in line. And a guy that lives right down the road from him, Ronnie Bowman, was first in line, and Ronnie held on to her, I guess, for about 3 years. And he knew that I was interested in her, and when he decided to let her go, he gave me a call, and I jumped all over it. The last time I had seen her ran, she probably wasn't but 8 months. And what I saw then, she was very consistent for an 8-month-old. And that's kind of what we look for in the kennel, is a dog that's got enough of everything but doesn't make a lot of mistakes. We're not – some guys like a real fast dog, and we're more on the clean and just try not to mess up. But yeah, it's been a long road trying to get her, but we sure are glad that we finally got our hands on her.
And it's definitely paid off for you. So
yes, sir.
So she so let's just talk about Tar Heel Kennels, and I think this is pretty cool. You got two brothers here doing it together and having success. So let's talk about your kennel, and you mentioned a little bit to me earlier before we started, kind of your operation and how you guys do things. So let's talk about that a little bit. And what when did you guys get into Beagles, and how long have you been at it, and that kind of thing?
This is Zack, by the way.
We appreciate it, Zack. I thought that was Zack a minute ago, actually, but that's okay.
I'm 5 years older. I'm 5 years older than Chance is. I'm 31. He's 26. So, our dad and stuff we hunted our whole life, but we never owned any hunting dogs growing up, really. He started taking me rabbit hunting. I don't know how old I was, probably 8, 10. Just old enough to start carrying and shooting a gun. And we used to go with some guys just rabbit hunting. Nobody knows their names, but they're local guys, Dean McCoy and Mike Nolte. We used to go with them. I was begging him every weekend to go after I went the first time. I've always been obsessed with hunting dogs. Like, I remembered these dogs' names. I remembered everything about them at a super young age. So we started that, and we had a club here local that was, I think, Blue Ridge Club. And Seneca Graham and Jim Umbarger were in it. And that was when Jimmy was still running UKC, and he got into the little pack there.
What year do you think that was?
Shoot. I wasn't old enough to drive, so probably it had to have been 16, 17 years ago plus.
Oh, okay.
So it's been a little while.
You've been at these Beagles a little while then.
Yeah, we've always owned Beagles after that. Once we got into that club, I got a dog from Seneca, I got a dog from Jim Umbarger, and I would take them up there, and I kind of got out of it about the time I could drive. I started getting out of it. Got into coon dogs and bear dogs and everything else, and about that time, Chance was getting old enough to start doing it, and when he wasn't playing sports and stuff, we just had grade dogs. We just rabbit hunted on, just during the winter. Nothing special by any means.
All of it started, And,
right.
And hey, I'll just tell you, you said that nobody might know those guys' names, but some of the greatest houndsmen that ever lived didn't have no ribbons.
That's right.
I'm always cognizant of that.
Yeah. So I had the bug from a young age. Chance took a little bit longer, but he kind of carried it while I was doing my thing, just trying different dogs and stuff. And I was actually bear hunting and I was at a guy's house, and Jonathan Rice came in. I don't know what he was doing, if he was bringing rabbits to the guys or what he was doing, but I had started talking to him, and he was like, "Hey, man, I got some beagles, and we do field trials and all this stuff." And me and Chance linked up with him and Shane. I looked back on the picture today, and it was 2018, I think.
Oh, okay.
So we went with them, and we had a couple grade dogs, but it wasn't nothing to brag about. We went with them and saw how their dogs ran, and it was Jonathan's champion male, and Shane had Ruger there, Cottonmouth's
Raging Cajun Ruger.
Yeah, Raging Cajun Ruger.
Sure.
And we saw how those dogs ran, and we were like, "Man, we ain't got nothing like this. Ain't even close. Ain't even close to this." But we had a ball that day, and it probably wasn't a month later, I got a beagle.
Oh yeah, that's how it goes, isn't it?
And then after that, we've got into it pretty good. We've been through right many dogs trying to find what we want, and we've kind of stayed just local, and until we thought we could compete with the bigger guys and the bigger hunts and stuff. So,
well, you certainly did compete, that's for sure. So
yeah, surprised us.
so you guys actually would say Tar Heel Kennels is like 2018 when you started it, something like that?
Yeah, probably. First couple beagles that we got was probably 2018, but we've really hadn't hit it hard until the last 2 or 3 years.
I gotcha. So let's talk about what you guys look for, and you mentioned this a little bit. So what are you guys looking for in a beagle? I mean, what do you want? You know, you hear a lot of different things, and you know what people think a dog should do or shouldn't do. You know, as a kennel and as a team, what do you guys look for? What do you want in a beagle?
We, I mean, just like the majority of people, I mean, the dog's got to be able to do it on its own. If it can't solo a rabbit well, it's not going to stay long. The speed, we're just looking for enough speed we're not necessarily needing a first line dog every time. We're looking for more of, you know, a second line dog that's going to be clean. So when that faster dog misses, it's right there to capitalize on it.
Mm-hmm.
And I want a dog that I can go rabbit hunt. And it's not, you know, it's not skirting and stuff like that. The dog, it's got to hunt hard. I'm not a huge fan of the bird style hunt. We like a grubby dog. We will take less speed for a dog that's got a pile of hunt.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I think if everybody had the mentality that hunt is number one, and don't ever make concessions for hunt. You know, if we did that as a breed, you would see beagles with a lot more hunt and grit in it, you know, like as you said, grub, than what you see. You know, I think we as a sport have kind of dropped the ball a little bit. There's a lot of dogs that have been bred that probably shouldn't have been bred over the years.
We'll get into that in a little bit.
You know, I think that you make a good point, and I'll try not to go down a rabbit hole here, but but yeah, I think you're exactly right.
We're a little bit different. Chances he keeps all the females, I keep the males.
Oh, okay.
And like our kennel name, we live in 2 different places. We couldn't come up with anything, so we used our hunting camp name. It's actually Tower Hill, TOWER, but everybody around there called it. Just kind of ran into tar, so that's what we use as a kennel name. But he likes a consistent. He likes a consistent dog. I like it just a little bit more flashy. Mm-hmm. We don't really disagree on it. But I like something that's got a little bit more power, and they might get themselves in trouble sometimes. And,
now what are you guys running in down there? Is it pine? Is it?
It's the exact same stuff. It's the exact same stuff we run in up there.
Okay.
It's thickets, fence lines.
Mm-hmm.
You might get the occasional place that's got some open stuff on it. That's cedars or something, but most of the stuff that we're hunting is pretty thick.
So thorns, briars, that it's thicker.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we do pretty good about talking to each other, and I don't see a lot of the females, running all the time like he does. He doesn't see a lot of the males running all the time like I do, but we get together every so often, and we'll throw them down together and see what each other's got. There's plenty of competitiveness between me and him.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm glad I know that, because now I'm going to have a lot more fun with that.
You better be glad I didn't get in them finals, because I don't know if you'd have pulled out that first place if I'd have got back in there. But, no, we agree on a lot of things, and the speed is, I like a little bit more speed, but number one, what's going to get you more points more often than anything is jump.
Oh yeah.
And if you can get a dog that's going to jump rabbits, you're getting that 100. I mean, even if they take a first line or a second line, as long as they're not dead last every single time, you have a pretty daggone good chance of winning it.
Well, I'll tell you, that's a dead fact right there. I tell guys that are thinking about trying the sport or getting into the sport that, in our format, jump is king. And if you have honest mouth jump, the dog is an honest mouth jump dog. If it's a mouthy dog, you eat 100, that doesn't help you any.
Correct.
There's no doubt about it. I mean, honest first strike jump dog is hard to handle.
A 60-minute hunt like they've went to is, you eat 100 right off the bat, which I did that over the weekend too. But you eat 100 right off the bat, and it's hard to come back from in 60 minutes. It's very hard to come back from.
Hard to come back from 90, let alone 60.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
So, well, how do you mentioned running there, and I've gotten to know you guys a little bit there, just talking on the phone or Facebook messaging or whatever, and I can tell you guys run a lot. I mean, I see your dogs. I looked at them for about 5 seconds, and I can tell these guys came to run. These dogs are in shape. So, what do you guys do as far, how do you run your dogs? Are you pack guys, brace guys, solo guys? What's your view on that?
I have my own business, so I usually take 3.5 months off in the wintertime, basically hunting season. Mm-hmm. And I've got 4 females at the house. So I'm usually running 4 or 5 days a week at least. Usually no more than 3 dogs. Most of the time it's solo and brace. We've got a young female that we've been putting a lot of time into, so I'll throw an older dog down with her to make them jump. And we've got a little female that's a little bit slower, but I had her down there at the Eliminator. She's probably one of the better jump dogs we've owned. She jumps a pile of rabbits, so she kind of takes that away from Rush and another little female. So I try to make them go with a younger dog to push them to jump the rabbit. Okay. As far as Zack, he's actually got a real job, unlike me. So he doesn't get to run as much and has 2 kids, so he's kind of limited. But I try to help him. If I got to go grab a dog, I'll go grab a dog every once in a while just to make sure everything's ran as much as we can do it.
So yeah, that's a real team you have.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a learning process for us for sure. And there's people that have forgot more than anything that we will ever know. But I'd say we used to run a pack probably more than anything. And this year we've really tried to concentrate on the dog that we're running at the time. So I'm off 2 days a week. I work 3/12s, and I'd keep both of my girls on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I got one that just turned 2 and one that's almost 6 months, so they're pretty young. Yeah. But when I was running before the Eliminator trying to get ready, I'd solo Tuesdays and Thursdays. I'd run one dog Tuesdays and Thursdays, and then me and Chance would hunt together on Saturdays. So I'd have one dog probably either getting soloed once or twice a week, and then we'd run between 10 and 15 miles, usually hunting on Saturdays with a pretty good sized pack, usually 6 to 8. So
you guys you're mixing it up a little bit. You're strategically packing. You're doing some solo a couple days a week. So, like when you were getting rush ready for this hunt, kind of the same plan, or did you kind of change what you're doing a little bit?
No, I definitely changed it up. The dogs that I had planned on taking down to the Eliminator, I mean, they were getting soloed 2, maybe 3 times a week, and then the other 2 days I would try to brace them. And then, like Zach said, we would get together on the weekends and run a bigger pack.
Bang them a little bit.
We learned pretty quick that soloing and bracing them and then throwing them down 6 and 7 at a time, it gets a little ugly when you throw a big pack.
Our Saturdays are ugly. I can tell you that.
It's they're 8 wide coming through there, and they might not any of them scored a line, but they're. You got to have that competitiveness or a dog's not going to do well in these hunts. But as far as getting rush ready, I said I've only owned her about probably right at a year. And it took me a while to get her back in shape because I got her right when I was getting busy for work last year. So this fall, my goal was really to push her to see what she had. And it took her a while to impress me. I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. At one point, I was thinking about selling her. I'm like, what is this guy told me? This dog is doing all this good stuff, and I haven't seen it. Well, it just took me and her spending a little more time together and, really putting some miles in on her to see what she had. And like I said, really the last 2 months, she has just really started to turn it on.
She's definitely in the right age, the prime of her life, 3.5 for a female. I've always felt is about as close to the prime as you get for most females.
Yeah, I think she, just from what Chance has told me and stuff, she's always been a great check dog. Probably the best check dog we own. She, like he said, we almost sold her and just started putting more time into her. And you find with different dogs, what they can handle, how much you need to run them, how much you need to solo them, how much you have to do with each one of them. Some you can throw in a kennel and
everyone's
sit up for 2 weeks and 3 weeks or whatever, and you bring them out and they're the same as they were when you put them up. Some of them, I got a little female there now. I feel like she needs to be ran 4 or 5 days a week before she looks good. But with Rush, we weren't quite seeing it. And then he started hammering her, and she came on, and like I said, she's always been good at checks, but she's really started to jumping some rabbits, and I think that's what's helped her. I think that's what's helped her in trialing this year. I mean, she just she had her first win a week or 2 before the Eliminator, so she hadn't been trialed a whole lot. But I feel like right now she's really clicking on all cylinders. So
I gotcha. What's your guys' plans? You going to hit some more big hunts this year? Are you going to go to NHBA days, nationals? What's your plan?
Well, I said I'm about to get slammed with work. I landscape, but I don't know that we'll make nationals. I've actually got a little boy due in June, so I'm kind of trying to keep Mama happy as long as possible. But we're pretty certain that we're going to hit the world at least, and we're going to try to throw something else in there between now and then. But we like going together, and both of us having kids and in work, we try to plan to where we can both go together. And now that we've got in with Jonathan and Shane, that if Zack can't go, I usually try to tag with them, and vice versa. If I can't go, he usually tries to go with them as well. But we're hoping to get to some bigger ones. But like I said, the schedules are just pretty busy right now. But
yeah, I had one more question for you guys. What if you had to pick one thing that you like best about the sport? What would you say it is?
Well, as far as me personally, like I said, when we were first in that club years ago, I was just a little fella, but I feel like the sport is more honest now than it was then. I mean, we were just a small club, and there was guys that, Zack was 8 years old, and they would try to get one over on him.
Crazy.
I really like seeing in our club, we've got a few kids that come. Shane brings his boy. George has got Connor there and stuff like that. I like seeing guys helping these younger guys out. And, if they need help with something or they're not calling a dog right, rather than, waiting until they're going to eat the points on it, they're trying to help them and teach them
along. Yeah.
Yeah. It just seems more honest now. I mean, we haven't been in it but 2 or 3 years, but
I can tell you your perception is, in my opinion, is correct. I think you are your perception is correct that the sport's in a great place right now. I really believe that. Having seen this thing go on in peaks and valleys since the 90s, basically, I think we've had an influx of good people, like yourselves, and I think the whole experience at the sport has come a long ways. Just to reflect what you're saying.
No, I agree. I agree totally with that. And I'm not knocking on anything that it used to be or anything like that, but I feel like it's definitely, it's not as cutthroat as what it used to be. The kids are way more welcome. I mean, shoot, there's kids out there. I mean, they were at the Eliminator. They're winning. Oh, yeah. They're winning more stuff than the adults are winning. They got it going on. I mean,
when you see those kids advancing, you know that the sport's in a good place.
And people like yourself putting on that sort of youth package like you did, and the guys and gals that helped you out. I mean, that makes the kids want to come.
I appreciate it.
Y'all did a phenomenal job with the youth. I mean, y'all just set the bar. I mean, it's going to be tough for people to do that, but I feel like, the kids that were there getting to see what they could potentially win and that sort of thing, they're going to be bugging the crap out of their parents wanting to
want to hit
the next hunt.
I sure hope so.
That's props to you guys for doing that for them and, for us as well. I mean, that was a phenomenal hunt, and you all put an awesome show together. I mean, it couldn't ask for any better.
Well, thank you, buddy. And I'll tell you, you guys were a pleasure to have up at our club, and you're a class act. And everybody I talked to that hunted with you said the same. And you guys welcome back to our club anytime. So I really appreciate the kind words.
Thank you. And how many cast roundabout went out that weekend?
Oh, shoot. There was 43, 45 went out Saturday. And we had, you had over 50 casts, altogether.
And very little complaints, if any at all. I mean, I think it's
very minor. Very minor.
Very minor. I mean, that's a huge success in my opinion. You got that many different people who are very good people, and just they're sportsmen and stuff, but it's competitive. They want to win. They ain't coming not to win.
Yeah, everybody wants to win,
Right. And to not have a major blow up or something like that. I mean, you see all kinds of people talking stuff about UKC and all that stuff, but they might have tried it back when I did 25 years ago, but It's nothing like it used to be. I mean, you can't get that many people together normally and not have some sort of dispute.
That's right.
Especially over dogs. If anybody's been in the dog world for very long,
that's right.
You know that something's going to happen, but nah.
And I can tell you that we had a streak going for a while there that there was multiple Big Five events in a row that had no questions.
Right.
And that was great to see. That things were that smooth. And so last thing I was looking at, guys, just to hit on, I mentioned our sponsor, the East Eliminator, earlier in the podcast, but you guys walked away with some wonderful prizes from DR Reynolds Sporting Goods and Purina Dog Food and some things. So just tell our listeners a little bit about what your prize package looked like, and we give a shout out to those sponsors.
Yes, sir. I mean, we among everybody there greatly appreciate everybody that donated and all the sponsors that you guys put together. Rush won us, we got a 300 Remington, a Garmin. Let's see, that was the Alpha 100 combo with the TT15 Mini. $500 cash. It was 1 or 2 bags of Purina dog food. It was a $150 gift card for a training pen up in PA. It was another $50 gift card to McFly. I think I said that right.
McFly.
And of course,
and I got your jacket coming. That's
yes, sir.
They got that today for you. Yep.
And Zack, he placed 7th with Spot, and he ended up with a 20 gauge Winchester and a bag of Pro Plan as well.
Nice.
So I mean, that's an unbelievable prize pack. I mean, and if I'm right, 1 through 10 got a gun, and that's unheard of. So thank you so much to those guys.
Yeah, that was all those firearms were, that was DR Reynolds outdoor park and gun range in Clarksburg, West Virginia, just to give a shout out there. Help put that together and make all that possible for us. So we thank him. And guys, I really appreciate your time, and I know you guys are busy with kids and everything, but I've really enjoyed sitting down and talking with y'all.
Yes, sir. Thank you for calling. Thank you for having us on. I just wanted to thank you for that hunt, and I think you got it going on as far as I think UKC was falling a little bit behind. I'm a nerd about hunting dogs. I would help Chance. I would mow with him a couple days a week or whatever, and all I did all day when I'm mowing is listening to podcasts. I was listening to the Coonhound podcast. I'm listening to the Beagling podcast. I'm listening to all this stuff. I'm listening to the what's the Pro Sport where they're winning $100,000 whatever in these coon hunts and stuff. And I'm like, man, just thinking to myself, I'm like, UKC is just like, just feel like we're kind of behind the times and stuff. I feel like you're doing a really, really good job of bringing it up to speed. I mean,
appreciate that.
I think we're probably getting pretty darn close to one of the bigger Beagling formats as far as prize packages and money being won and all that stuff. So
yeah, I think that just all goes as part of the experience, and I know Alan's working hard with their podcast that he puts out at UKC and this NHBA podcast that we're doing, and I think that's part of the visibility. The NHBA was founded on giving notoriety to houndsmen. If you look at the seal on the NHBA on that logo, you'll see those 2 words, and that's what we're trying to do here today. You guys you've worked hard, you've won a big hunt, and we want to give you the due justice that you deserve. For what you accomplished. And I think it's important. I think you're right too. Bigglers, maybe we haven't always gotten the publicity, so to speak. Yeah. But we're going to try. We're going to try our best to make sure that we recognize folks that are working hard and doing well.
Yeah, you gotta kind of evolve with the times, and I know there's still there's still some people, and at your hunt especially, you don't have to go spend. You don't have to do a $500 entry fee or $1,000 entry fee or $2,500 entry fee to win a pretty daggone good earning. I mean, what was it? $30 a dog entry fee, and you come away with first place between $2,000, $3,000 worth of stuff. I mean, you can't beat that.
Absolutely. Well, you guys make sure you got your vacation in to come back and try to repeat and defend your title next February. So
yeah, we might retire Rush from the Eliminator after that one. Just let her go out on top.
Just say, hey, you can't have another shot at her, guys. She's going away a champion. Huh?
Yes, sir. Like I said, we will definitely be back, and as many of these bigger hunts that are close to us, we're going to do our best to be there. And
that's
a lot of that is just the people being around good people. It makes it enjoyable to come and talk to people that you have never met before and
don't get to see but once a year.
Yeah, it definitely makes it fun now that you get to go and compete, and most of the time not have any issue out of it. I mean, you don't get that often in anything, much less the dog world. But
that's right.
Like I said, we appreciate everything that you've done. I mean, as far as that hunt goes and beyond, like I said, like Zach said, the prize packages were awesome, and that's a big thanks to you and all the sponsors as well.
I appreciate that, and we'll try to make it even bigger and better next year, and don't be afraid to bring Rush out of retirement so we can have another crack at her.
Oh, she's just now getting into the trial. We're hoping she's got a few more years in her.
Yeah,
you're talking retirement. I'm getting worried now. So.
Just from the Eliminator.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. I got it.
Hopefully we got some young stuff coming up.
That's right.
That's right. Hoping to make a little appearance here before long. So
good. Well, guys, again, I appreciate it, and we'll be seeing you guys soon. And this, once again, for our listeners, Chance and Zack Staton from Tar Heel Kennels with Tar Heel in a Rush, winner of your 2023 East Eliminator. Guys, I'll give you guys the last word, and you guys have a great evening. Thanks for coming on.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having us, and you have a good evening as well.
All right, folks. Man, those are some good fellas. Thanks, guys, for interviewing with us, and I enjoyed that. Next up, we're going to have Paul Gingerich of Gang 4. Enjoy. Okay, guys, I'm going to welcome onto the podcast Paul Gingerich of Gang 4 and gang4.com, inventor of the Pack-A-Charge. Paul, welcome to the podcast, buddy.
Thanks for having me, Mitch.
So, guys, if you have noticed, Paul has been one of our sponsors here at NHBA for some time now, and has donated some of these fantastic units. So, before we get into the weeds here, Paul, I just on behalf of NHBA, I want to thank you for your sponsorship and everything you've done for NHBA.
Hey, you're welcome, and also thanks to the NHBA for inviting us aboard. I mean, this has been great for us. I think it's been better for us than you may all realize. So we really appreciate the opportunity.
Well, fantastic. I'm really glad to hear that. And so let's get into Gang 4 a little bit and the Pack-A-Charge. So it's the 100% American-made, designed, produced company. I think that's really cool, Paul. I know you're located in northern Indiana.
Yes, we are. Yes, it's been a road, but it's been a real enjoyable road. And like you said, all American made. Yes, and we'll probably hit on that somewhere along here. How everything is made right here.
Absolutely, I think that's really cool. So let's get into let's just talk about what Gang 4. When I first saw that and I was preparing, I thought Gang 4. That's a really unique name, and probably good marketing on your part to make it something so interesting. So let's just talk about what's in the name and kind of where the company started, and let's get into that a little bit.
All right. Yeah, that is kind of interesting, Gang 4, isn't it? So, with anybody, a product, or you're, trying to come up with something, there's always a name that goes with it. And something I thought about for a long time, and the ging. Now this is going to go outside the box a little bit. The way the ging came about is my oldest boy played a lot of baseball, travel baseball. And you know how coaches and everybody, they're all about the shortest name because it's the easiest to holler.
Oh, yeah.
And all that. So most of everybody on the team went by the last name, Gingerich, So he was being Gingerich. Why the coach found it easier to yell at him, "Hey, Ging!" And that stuck. It stuck. And so I don't know how I ended up coming up on that when I was thinking about it. And I'm thinking, you know what, Gingerich, there was 4 of us in it, nice. And Ging 4, and there we go.
That's a cool story. Yeah, you're right about baseball coaches. They are definitely taking the shortest path between point A and point B. That's for sure.
Exactly.
So the Pack-A-Charge, right? That's your feature product. Fantastic product. Yes,
it is.
Tell us about the Pack-A-Charge, and I know there's some cool history behind the Pack-A-Charge and what it does, and let's get into that.
All right, to go back into the history of it a little bit. This idea was born through beagling. I grew up being a coon hunter, so I had coon hounds all my life. But I have 5 brothers. 4 of them are heavy into beagling. We were raised, not born, but raised in northern Michigan, about 60 miles south of the bridge, Upper Peninsula.
Okay.
And so that's where we cut our teeth. And rabbit hunting was snowshoe hare up north. So all these years my brother and I moved down here, back in the mid-'80s. But we always enjoyed going back north, snowshoe hare hunting. And since we've kind of made it a family tradition, we do it once a year.
Oh, okay.
So as this technology came along, you know how it is. You've got all this GPS technology, and it has to be charged, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, you've got cords everywhere. You know the story. I think everybody does. So in 2015, it was 4 brothers, several nephews, a couple of my boys. There was 9 or 10 of us in camp. We'd rented this big house.
Oh, cool.
Okay, so I don't have any beagles. So I'm always a designated camp cook.
Mm-hmm.
Well, everybody come in the evening. We had 20-some dogs in camp, so you can imagine the mess. And I get up the next morning. Now, this is the first morning that we're there. I get up in the morning, and I want to make some coffee. I'm the first one up. Mitch, there is collars and handhelds plugged in everywhere. I don't even have a place for my coffee to plug in my coffee pot.
I figure there
countertop, and this is a big house.
Wow.
So, I unplug it, make sure that it's plugged in somewhere, make sure that it's full, because I can almost hear the argument,
Oh, yeah.
when everybody gets up and finds their stuff laying off to the side. And that's exactly how it was. Guys started getting up. Hey, I plugged my stuff over here. That's my red collar over there. Now, I had a black one over here. You can about imagine. Well, this went on for several days, just like this.
I've seen a very similar scene myself, actually.
Yeah, this was in 2015.
Okay.
So on the way home, I'm driving along, traveling home, and I'm thinking about this, and I'm thinking there has got to be something better. So I kind of started forming a little bit of a picture in my mind before I got home. But you know how that goes. you get going back, life gets going on again, and I kicked it around in the basement a little bit, never really hit on nothing. The next year rolls around. There is far fewer in camp, but we're dry camping. It's just as bad or worse, right? You know, we're out in the wilderness and tent camping, basically, have a little generator. So on the way home that following year, I decided, you know what, I really need to get to work on this. Yeah, I got closer. And long story short, by Thanksgiving of 2019, we had something that resembled what we do have now. It somewhat resembled it, enough that we could field test it. And by January of 2020, we actually had a product that was very much like we have now that needed field tested. And we field tested that I made 2 or 3 of them, put 3 of them together, handed them out to 3 very trustworthy hunters that I knew hunted hard, that would put it through its paces. And I worked around those 3 units, and we field tested for 9 months. And in those 9 months, we had a lot of other work to do. And when I say that, you know, there's quite a few small parts in the product. So I had to shop around. Plastics to put in the, you know, molds. Well, I ran up against a big one there as far as it costs so much to make a mold, to design a mold. It costs so much to put the mold into the machine, and there's a minimum of 300 parts every time they put it in the machine. The cost was still astronomical.
Oh, wow.
So while all this field testing is going on, I'm designing. The boys and I designed our own tooling and machining here at my shop.
Really?
And by the time testing was done, we had done a run of 10 just to see how the manufacturing side would go, and there we go.
So you actually, just for our listeners, if anybody knows anything about business, you made your own molds for this device.
It's actually not molds, but it's tooling to make
tooling. Yeah, tooling.
Yeah, tooling to make the product. Yes, it's yeah. I was very impressed with my 2 boys too. You know, they helped out a great deal. We would walk up against things and man, they just wouldn't drop it either. I mean, we just worked our way through some things. It was good. Look, we walked into some hard decisions going through there, but they were there every step of the way and helped us walk right through it.
So truly a true family business. And
it is. Yeah. Exactly. True Ging 4.
Yeah. That is really cool, Paul.
Yeah.
You see that 100% American made. You'll see that some places, and then you get into the product and you find out, well, it's American assembled, you know, or kind of things, and certainly not designed and the tooling. And so, to me, you know, in this day and age, that's pretty awesome that you've been able to, and whatnot. So this pack a charge. Tell me a little bit about the product specifically. Like, if somebody was listening to this and they don't know what it does, they're probably starting to figure it out. Tell me exactly what it does.
So it's a carry case that you can put 5 components in, 4 collars and a handheld. They clip into their own charging clips, which are mounted in here into this carry case. And it has an external USB port. So you plug your cable into the external USB. On the end of that, you can either plug in a wall charger, or most of your vehicles in the back seat will have a USB that has enough amperage to it to run an iPad or something like that. Yeah. You can plug that USB right in there and leave it underneath your back seat. Matter of fact, a lot of people do that. They just leave this unit in your truck underneath the seat. You go hunting, you get them out of the case, put them on your dogs. When they get done, they go back into the case, slide them underneath your seat. They're always charged, always ready to go. Everything is together. Nice and neat. No more cables, cords strung everywhere.
Absolutely. Before the first time I'd seen one of these, I thought, why didn't I think of that? Because, they say some of the greatest products were solved a problem. And
yeah. So, Mitch, going along that same line right there, while I'm thinking about this, I'm thinking to myself, I am not the first one to think about this. So I done some research. Do you know what I'm saying? Because if I could find something, that's always a shorter road, correct?
Oh, yeah.
So that was my thought process. But I could not find anything until the product got out a little bit. Then I did have one guy raise his hand and go, hey, I come up with something. He goes, it's not even close to that. It resembles a big tool chest / lunchbox. But he goes, I've had those same thoughts. And he goes, that's really cool how we narrowed it down to what we got.
And that's an awesome story, man. That really is an awesome story. And again, guys, we just thank Paul so much. I'm looking here, you've donated 5 of these units to NHBA in the last couple of years, and I know the people that have won them, they really enjoy them. And again, when you solve a problem that I'm just thinking of the cords and we was at hunting camp and I seen the cord debacle you're talking about, and guys looking for plug-ins, and even at field trials, we rented a house or motel room, and all of a sudden there ain't enough plug-ins, and you got cords everywhere. So really, really awesome product. So if I wanted to buy the Ging 4 packet charger today, where would be the best place to purchase this from? Is it direct from your website, or is there another places that we can find it at?
So yes, we do have a website. We do have an online store. If you go to Ging 4 Innovations, you'll find our website. We have everything listed on there. And I do have a dealer, K-Light Supply.
Oh, okay.
Sandra Kelly. She does a phenomenal job for us, too. Phenomenal. I am way more than satisfied with her. She's done a great job. So she'll be able to help you out in any way, shape, or form on that also.
Can you say that name one more time? The Sandra Kelly, and what was the company?
K-Light Supply.
K-Light Supply. Okay.
It's a K-Light Supply.
Gotcha. Good deal. All right, guys. So if you don't have a Ging 4 packet charge, you need one. If you're listening to this podcast, you're probably a dog man of some kind or dog woman of some kind, and that means you probably run tracking systems and you need this product. So, get on like Paul said, get on Ging 4 Innovations, or you can also go through Sandra Kelly. Is that right?
That is Sandra Kelly at K-Light Supply. Yes.
Supply. So get a hold of that. And Paul, again, this has been a really, really fun interview for me. I've been holding on to that story to our listeners. This is the first time I've heard it because I wanted to hear it the first time too. I've been wanting to hear. You said it was a cool story, and that was definitely the case.
Yeah, it was. Not only was it a cool story, but when I think back over the years of this product as it was born and started to grow, when I look back on that, it's been a really inspiring, to me, a quite inspiring trip. It has been.
And what an experience for your boys. I mean, that's
absolutely
a lot.
Absolutely, it has.
A lot to be learned there. For a young kid or.
Yeah, that's, and I'd tell them along the way if we'd walk into something, it's not just in this product. There's a lot of things in life that come along too. You walk up against something. I said, boys, look, we've walked through a lot here together. Life is the same way. We stick together. We keep our heads together. We keep communicating. You can walk through almost anything.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, I'm feeling that. That's a motivational tagline right there. So, well, Paul, on behalf of NHBA, I can't thank you enough, and also I do appreciate. I know how busy you are, and I appreciate you taking the time to come on the podcast with me.
You're welcome. Thanks again for having me.
All right, guys. Once again, it's Paul Gingerich of Ging 4, fantastic sponsor for your NHBA. And Paul, we'll be talking to you soon, buddy. Take care.
Thanks, Mitch.
Well, folks, I hope you enjoyed that interview with Paul. What a awesome product in the pack of charge. Take a look at that, guys. I think you'll find it to be very useful for really any type of hound hunting. Next up on the podcast, we're going to have Josh Ware, Secretary, NHBA, from Grafton, West Virginia. All right, guys. It's NHBA 2023 NHBA Days Preview. I'd like to welcome onto the podcast NHBA Secretary Josh Ware. Welcome onto the podcast, Josh.
Thank you.
So let's get into this, man. You know, time flies, and as soon as the grass starts to green just a little bit, and then big buck rabbits start making big races for you, I always start thinking of NHBA Days. It's probably my favorite hunt of the year. A lot of the reason is that weather and the running gets so powerful, and I know it's one of your favorite hunts as well.
Yeah, it is. Very special.
You know, and you know also just what it means to the NHBA and the sport and all that. So, folks, we're gonna detail, you know, the everything you need to know. Josh is going to take us through all the information you need to attend NHBA Days. He's also got some good information for you regarding NHBA in general and some membership things. And so we're going to take you through that here this evening. You know, Josh, I was thinking, I want to say, I believe the first NHBA Days was St. Louisville for some reason. I believe it was. I want to say like 2000, 2001 with a really good dude. I just say his name here for some of the older folks might remember, Ed Shofflin. And I know how proud he would be of what you guys have grew the NHBA into.
Yeah, I think he would. He was one of our charter members, and he had a very big role in the startup of the NHBA.
That's exactly right. You know, I think about those old timers from that first meeting all those years ago, over 20 years now, and how proud they would be to see what NHBA has turned into. You know, I want to mention, Josh, you know, last year's NHBA Days was really incredible.
Yeah, it was. The running was outstanding. I think we had all casts but one for the entire weekend that had plus points. There was some great running up there in Pennsylvania. The event was hosted in West Virginia by Tri-County Beagle Club and Mountaineer Beagle Club, but Waynesburg Beagle Club and the Brave Club there in Pennsylvania, if it wasn't for them, the event would have not been what it was. Their running grounds are second to none.
That's exactly right. I'll contend that part of the country right there is, well, it's kind of turned into a little mecca for field trialing. You know, they just got so much good ground. That's close to the same area, Waynesburg. You know, they hosted the World Hunt. Just an awesome area to run, and man, was that a well-organized hunt. So
yeah,
let's talk about, Josh, this year's event. So, you know, looking ahead here, you know, let's talk about where this hunt's going to be held, who's hosting it, and give people some information they need to get excited and ready to go.
Okay. This year's event, it's going to be held in LaFontaine, Indiana, at the LaFontaine Learning Community Building. That is Magenica Beagle Club. The Magenica Beagle Club, for those that don't know, they sold their old clubhouse there a few years back. They donated $20,000 of the proceeds, almost the entirety of the proceeds, to the NHBA Scholarship Fund. So whenever they put in for this event, it was very special for all of us board members and officers to see the event go to Indiana.
Wow, that's incredible.
The event is going to be March 17th, 18th, and 19th. Mm-hmm. And that'll be 2 A hunts on Friday the 17th and 2 A hunts on Saturday the 18th, with deadlines being 6:30 a.m. and 11:30 a.m. $30 entry fee for each hunt. The show will be Friday 6 p.m. deadline, $15 entry fee. For the format this year, so all three categories will run separate: registered, champion, and grand. You can only run your dog in 2 of the 4 hunts. So any 2 of the 4, doesn't matter. Basically be like the UKC Nationals, a miniature version of the UKC Nationals. And then from there, we're going to take the top 16 dogs, regardless of category, based off of cast wins. So double cast winners will go first, followed by single cast winners with the highest points in their cast win. They'll move on to Sunday morning. And you'll have 4 dog semifinal casts with non-hunting judges on Sunday morning. Then those 4 cast winners will go out for the final 4 Sunday afternoon.
So like Josh said, guys, it's a little bit different than last year. And now I do have some questions here, Josh. Some listeners had asked me to ask you some questions just about the format. One listener asked, can I run the same dog twice on Friday?
Yes, you can.
So, and just so our listeners understand, if you run that dog twice on Friday, would that dog be eligible on Saturday, Josh, to run?
That dog would not be eligible on Saturday. 2 entries per dog is the max.
Okay. So everybody, I want to make sure everybody hears that, just so everybody can kind of, a little bit of, I guess you could say there's a little bit of strategy into this year's hunt, Josh.
Yeah. We saw how it played out at the UKC Nationals last year. We actually decided on this format before Nationals, but we were curious to see it play out, and I think Nationals went about as well as could be imagined. So it really gives us high hopes that this format is going to be good for the event. Absolutely.
Last year, basically, if everybody remembers, you could run the same dog all 4 rounds. And if I remember right, Josh, the membership voted to change it. Is that right for this year?
They voted to change it. They said, hey, most of us have more than one dog, and really to stand a chance last year in winning the hunt, you felt like you had to run the same dog all 4 rounds. And they all said, we want to bring 2 dogs. We want to run 2 dogs 2 times each. So it was brought up by a couple of the members in the meeting, and it was voted on by a pretty wide margin to change it to where you can run 2 dogs.
Right. Do you remember what was the total entries last year at that hunt, 2022 NHBA days? A roundabout number?
It was around 250.
250 entries. So that's a big number, and I could see it. I could see us out here in Indiana this year being maybe even more than that. I think it's very possible.
Yeah, I believe so. I hope for it.
All right, Josh. Anything else on? Wait, we do want to mention, guys. This is obviously, if you're running sectional points, it's a wide open race right now. Coming up here in the coming episodes, we will be doing some sectional point highlights for those people that are in the top 8. But if you're out there and you're running sectional points, this is a double point hunt, correct, Josh?
Well, this is actually a quadruple point hunt per cast win, because now that the dogs are limited to 2 casts, we wanted to make sure that a dog could still earn a max of 12 points, because this is NHBA's, this is our flagship event. This is our number 1 event, so we wanted to make sure they still got those max points of 12. So a dog that wins both casts would get 8 points, And then if they win the final, that's a bonus 4. They can still earn 12 points like last year despite running less.
Wow. And and really, if you think about it, to get in the top 8, guys, and Josh, you correct me if I'm wrong, but if you were to win this hunt and get 12 points, if we look historically what it's taken to get into the top 8, you're really close to halfway there, I would say.
Yeah, you are. 2 years ago, I think maybe 21 or 22 points was 8th, and then around that 25, 26 point there in 2022. And actually, the dog that was 8th last year won in HBA days. So that, that propelled that dog into the top 8.
That's right. Okay. Josh, anything else on the prize package or raffles before we get into some of this membership information?
For the prize package, it's going to be $500 cash to first, plus 2 bags of Pro Plan and a trophy. Second will be $400 cash, 2 bags of Pro Plan and a plaque. Third will be $300 cash, 2 bags of Pro Plan and a plaque. And fourth will be $200 cash, 2 bags of Pro Plan and a plaque. Also, I need to mention first place will receive a jacket and second place will receive a jacket. And then 5th through 16th, the dogs making the semifinals, they'll receive $100 cash and a bag of Pro Plan. Mm-hmm. The show winner is going to receive $100 cash, a trophy, and a jacket, and a bag of Pro Plan. And the youth hunt winner is going to receive $100 cash and a trophy. And then one other thing we're going to do, in addition to the prizes, we've got 5 $300 gift cards that from our sponsors. That's Plum Creek Kennel Supply, Okie Dog Supply, and Eisenhut Dog Supply.
Oh, nice.
So we're gonna everyone that's at the hunt this weekend that comes and enters a dog, we're gonna enter any of their dogs that earned a point in the sectional series last year in 2022. We're going to enter them in a drawing.
Oh, okay.
Essentially, it's replacing the NHBA runoff. We still wanted to commit all the same benefits to our members, despite doing away with the NHBA runoff. So if you're present, any dog that is in your name, any dog you own that earned a point last year, it's going to go into the pot there. And we're going to draw 5 dogs' names out, and that owner is going to receive a $300 gift card. So we'll have 5 winners there at the event.
Now, key word, guys, and correct me if I'm wrong, Josh, but you said the word present. So you have to be there to win this raffle. Is that correct?
You have to be there because if you were going to win the NHBA runoff or the NHBA show-off in years past, obviously you would have had to been there and entered your dog. So you're going to have to be present at the hunt this weekend to be eligible.
Okay. All right. So that's some exciting stuff for our members, guys. So, get on out there. You've got an awesome prize package there for not just competing and winning and placing and those kind of things, but also NHBA, all about giving back to the membership with these gift cards. So that's a great opportunity as well. So, Josh, let's kind of get into some of this membership information. I know we're in the middle of a membership drive right now.
Yeah, currently in the middle of a membership drive. We're going to be giving away a TT15 mini collar to as long as you're a member by the UKC Nationals. We'll draw it at Nationals. So just randomly draw a member. Just like we did at the East Eliminator, we had another membership drive. So this is going to be the same type of thing. Random draw, one winner will get a collar. That's just part of the benefits of being an NHBA member.
Fantastic. So we also, I want to mention, and I told the folks, Josh, earlier in the podcast that I was saving this for when you and I came on here. we had kind of an impromptu membership drive at the East Eliminator, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, that was surprising. That was very much appreciated. Donnie Reynolds donated a Gatling gun as well as a over-under 28 gauge.
Yeah, just a beautiful Beretta 28 gauge and a really cool, as Josh said, a Gatling gun. I don't know how else to describe it. But we just, at the NHBA, we want to thank Donnie and Dee Reynolds, Gun Range and Outdoor Park. That helped a lot with membership, as you can imagine. And I believe our winner was trying to remember who won the that Benelli, but it was a beautiful gun. Benelli or Beretta, trying to remember.
Yeah, it was won by Scott McDougal from Missouri.
That's right.
And the other gun was won by Luke Maley from Waynesburg, Pennsylvania. That was this is actually Luke's first year being a member. So, obviously it seems like that membership drive did help to grow the membership. So thanks to Donnie for that.
Fantastic. So guys, as Josh said, we're in the middle of this membership drive. Get out there, join NHBA before nationals to get into these raffles. Be at NHBA days for those gift cards. So come and hunt. All right, Josh. So let's talk about the different kinds of membership and what that costs.
So a regular membership, that is $25 per year. And then there's the elevated membership status, membership category is the gold membership. That's $50 the first year and then $25 every year after. So it's essentially a one-time fee of an additional $25 to become a gold member. Gold members, what they have over and above a regular member, they vote for the Hall of Fame. We're in the middle right now, actually, from the 2022 gold members and charter members. They have on last year's Hall of Fame ballot, there's a proposal for a potential change to the Hall of Fame. That'll be a merit-based point system. So we don't know the results of that yet. All the ballots are sealed. They'll be opened up at NHBA days. But there might be some changes announced at NHBA days pertaining to the Hall of Fame.
Well, that's exciting, guys. Those of you that are gold members have received those ballots. And, as Josh said, if this were to, we'll see if this passes. And if it does, we'll be dedicating some time to go over that with everybody as a potential change to the Hall of Fame in a merit-based point system. So we'll just see what happens with that, see where we go. So Josh, this $25, pretty small fee really for everything that NHBA does for the sport. Can you talk for just a minute about what that money goes toward as far as sectional race, youth race, those trophies? Just give us a little rundown of what that $25 does.
So that $25, as we've discussed, the membership drives. So that's something new that we started, that you're being a member can get you in those drives, get you in those contests. Then there's also the NHBA Youth Point Series, where the youth, they'll run points throughout the year. They'll earn points based off of entries into hunts, and then additional points for cast wins. We give those kids that race is sponsored by Purina, and those kids, they're running for. It's now with the addition of the hunts that our new sponsors are donating, we're talking about between $4,000 and $5,000 that those kids are running for total for the top four.
Wow.
We have the sectional series points race. That's for the dogs. Top 8 earn prizes for that.
And not to interrupt you, Josh, but if you listen to episode 1, if you haven't, you can go back and listen. We reviewed the top 8 from last year, and we actually went through all that prize package. And man, it is a sweet prize package for sure.
Yeah, it is. It's a great prize package. And that's, And there's also the show series as well. So you have the hunt and the show series, and all that. All that's made possible thanks to our sponsors and to our members. You know, those are some of the benefits of being an NHBA member. You're eligible for all of that. We also have the NHBA Scholarship Fund. We give out any kid that applies for a scholarship, they get a scholarship. No kids are denied as long as their parent or their grandparent is a current NHBA member, and
wow.
and they can earn up to a $1,500 scholarship. We usually see 3 or 4 kids each year that get a scholarship towards college or a technical school of their choice.
Wow. Well, there you have it, folks. That's pretty special. And NHBA Days, this event, guys, also, you know, has an important role to play in how the NHBA operates. So by folks just coming to the NHBA Days event and participating, that helps out the NHBA a lot as well. Is that right, Josh?
Yeah, it does. And we have our yearly membership meeting where we go over with all the members that are there, which will be Saturday in the middle of the day between Hunt 1 and Hunt 2 on Saturday this year. We go over everything that's happening within the NHBA. We give the members the floor. They can bring up anything they want. Everyone that's a member has a voice. And this weekend is the biggest weekend of the year for the organization.
That's right. And looking at the weather, and I talked to some folks that were out there at Gingerich County, Josh, and every single one is like, holy smokes, they got rabbits.
Yes, they do. The Indiana State Hunt was there last weekend, and I know multiple casts. Guys were talking about seeing 12 and 15 rabbits in a cast. So I'm looking forward to this event.
Absolutely. Okay, folks. So that's your 2023 NHBA Days preview. So we're going to hopefully see everybody March 17, 18, and 19. Is that right, Josh?
That's right.
At Gingerich County Beagle Club, and go ahead and give them the location of that again, if you don't mind.
That's going to be at LaFontaine Learning Community Building. That's 207 North Wabash Avenue, LaFontaine, Indiana, 49040.
Very well. And I actually, before we got on here, I just got on Google Maps pretty quick, and it was pretty easy to find. There are plenty of hotels and food and things in the area.
Yeah, for anyone looking at a hotel, Marion, Indiana has 3 or 4. That it's about 10 or 11 minutes from the club.
That's right. All right, folks. Anything else, Josh, you think we need to hit on here that folks may need to know before they make the trek out to Gingerich County?
I just want the couple last points. I want to make sure everyone knows if you still have a Hall of Fame ballot from last year, you can turn that into me at the event. And any kid wanting to apply for a scholarship, you can bring that to the event and turn into any of the NHBA officers or board members.
Excellent. All right, folks. Well, there you have it. We're going to hopefully see everybody here in a couple weeks. Come on out. NHBA Days 2023. We'll be out there at Gingerich County, Indiana, and should be a good time. So on behalf of the NHBA, invite everybody out. Josh, thanks for coming on, and we'll be seeing you soon.
Thank you.
Well, folks, that's going to conclude episode 2 of the NHBA podcast. I want to thank everybody for listening. Also, a big thank you to everyone that came on and interviewed and made this episode possible. We hope to see y'all out at NHBA Days here in a couple weeks in northern Indiana. Don't forget, join the NHBA if you already haven't. And we'll be seeing y'all real soon.